I get it, you're staring at a list of industrial label printers, and the idea of dropping a few $1,000s on something you'll only use a handful of times feels risky. I've been there, trying to convince a friend who runs a small warehouse that a big boy printer might actually save him a lot of time and money. But he's worried about the learning curve, the ongoing cost of ribbons, and whether the machine will sit idle most days. That hesitation is real, especially when you can't just return the thing after a week if it doesn't fit your workflow. So before you decide to click buy, let's walk through what the Zebra ZT411 actually brings to the table, who will genuinely benefit, and who might be better off with a simpler solution. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the ZT411 is marketed as an industrial-grade thermal transfer printer, and that label isn't just marketing fluff. The machine is built for environments where you need reliable, high-volume printing of durable tags. Think shipping labels, warehouse inventory tags, or safety signs that have to survive heat, moisture, and abrasion. If you're a logistics manager who prints hundreds of 4-inch labels a day, or a manufacturing floor that needs on-the-spot barcode tags for each component, the ZT411's 203 DPI engine and 4-inch width line up nicely with those demands. The real question is whether those demands match your day-to-day reality. Let's talk about the setup you'll actually face. The printer ships with a fairly straightforward mechanical design: a front-loading media tray, a ribbon compartment that you have to purchase separately, and a control panel that feels more like a small industrial keypad than a consumer gadget. The learning curve is mostly around loading the ribbon and configuring the communication method. Zebra gives you 4 options: serial, USB, Ethernet, and Bluetooth, so you can hook it up to a legacy PLC, a modern Windows PC, or even a mobile device on the shop floor. In practice, I've seen warehouses that run the printer headless over Ethernet, sending print jobs straight from their WMS, warehouse management system, without ever needing a PC at the printer. That can be a huge time saver because you eliminate a potential point of failure. Now, the practical strengths. The first thing people notice is how quickly the ZT411 can crank out a label. In a test run on my friend's fulfillment center, the printer consistently hit the advertised 6-inch per second speed, even when printing dense barcodes. That speed, combined with the fact that the printer uses thermal transfer rather than direct thermal, means the labels won't fade after a few weeks of exposure to sunlight or heat. For anyone who needs labels to stay legible for months, like equipment tags in a plant, that durability is a genuine advantage. Another strength is the flexibility of media handling. The ZT411 can handle a variety of label stocks, from thin paper to thicker synthetic materials, and it even supports continuous rolls. That matters when you have to switch between a cheap paper label for internal inventory and a tougher polyester tag for outdoor equipment. The printer's ability to adjust pressure and speed on the fly via the front panel lets you fine-tune for each media type without diving into a software driver every time. On the cost side, the printer itself is priced in the mid-range of industrial models, but you have to remember that the ribbon is sold separately. That's a hidden ongoing expense that often trips up first-time buyers. If you're printing high volume, the per-label ribbon cost can add up, but the trade-off is that you get a label that won't smudge or peel. For a small operation that prints only a few dozen labels a week, the ribbon expense could outweigh the benefit of a heavy-duty printer, making a desktop direct thermal model a smarter financial choice. Speaking of weaknesses, the ZT411 isn't the most compact piece of equipment. It takes up about the same floor space as a small printer, but you still need to allocate room for the ribbon and label roll, plus a little clearance for the opening hatch. In cramped workspaces, that could be a deal breaker. Additionally, because the printer is geared toward industrial use, the user interface isn't exactly slick. The LCD is functional but minimal, and navigating menus can feel a bit clunky if you're accustomed to a touchscreen. That's not a fatal flaw, but it does mean you'll spend a few minutes getting comfortable before you can run it blind. One practical scenario that illustrates the ZT411 sweet spot is a third-party logistics provider that needs to print carrier labels on demand. They receive shipments of varying sizes, and each package requires a unique barcode that matches the order in their system. By integrating the ZT411 over Ethernet, they can automatically pull order data from their software and print a 4-inch label in under a second. The result is a smoother workflow, fewer manual data entry errors, and a noticeable reduction in the time workers spend hunting for a label printer that won't jam. Contrast that with a small retail store that,